What's going on, people? It's Mr. Dore back again with part 2 of the Derby and Nottingham Forest preview. And yes, it's the last time, and we've got a special guest. I'm going to start with, Jason. How you doing, Jason?
Yeah, I'm all right. How are you?
I feel great. And then next to Jason, we've got Corey. How you doing?
Ben, how are you? I'm doing great as well. I'm going to be a lot better after tomorrow's result goes the way of the black and white on the A52. But how are you doing, Ben? Thanks for having us on.
I feel great, but
I don't know why. Aren't you cribbing in your boots because Wayne Rooney's Rams are coming?
Right, listen to me, right, Corey. I've got Freebie next to me, right? He doesn't deal with this kind of shit. So if you want to start on me, right, I'll get Freebie here.
You could just mute me too. You know that, right? No, I appreciate it. I'm glad you had us on. I'm just razzing everybody. You know it's going to be a dour draw. Come on, let's be honest, guys.
You are.
Oh, days. And next to Corey, we've got Steve. How you doing?
I'm all right, Ben. Thanks for having us on again.
Yeah, Steve, you're only on, Steve, so you can pick on these two, so don't get your high hopes, okay? And next, we've got Freebie. How you doing?
Yeah, interesting watching these lads, isn't it? They can talk and everything, and the Derby fans, incredible.
And we've got next to me, Mr. Price. How you doing, Craig?
Yeah, I'm all good, pal. You?
Yeah, and please don't be quiet. Don't let Steve and Freebie do the talking, please, because you'll be the quiet one, won't you?
For me?
No, Craig. Craig's going to be.
I observe and let him. Yeah.
No, you can't be.
I don't chip in now and then.
You won't.
I'm here to keep you on the right toe.
Right, so let's start. Let's talk about the last game, 1-1, and I'll be honest. I thought Derby got robbed. Jason, what was your thoughts about that game?
Similar sentiments, to be honest with you, Ben. I think obviously the disallowed goal was a contentious one. Can't argue that. I think it's one of them where if you're the team that score it, you're screaming for it to be given. If you're the team conceding it, I can understand why people would say and come up with probably every excuse under the sun to not give it in that particular game. I thought the game was pretty well contested between two sides that hadn't really found the feet at that point in the division. So I'm certainly hoping that tomorrow's going to be for both teams. I'm looking forward to a good game. I'm hoping it's a good game. I'm looking forward to certainly Derby playing better than they did in the last showing against Forest, and I'm sure Forest fans would feel exactly the same.
Steve, do you feel exactly the same, Steve?
Pretty much, it's like I think the sides, both of them at the moment, like defensively tight, and it's gonna have draw written all over it for me. But I think I was talking to Corey earlier on, actually, as we were moonlighting on another show. And
you can't
Pornhub.
You can't porn. That's it. Porn.
Gone. But I think tomorrow I'll be looking forward to midfield battle because I think Garner will be coming back in, and obviously Shinnie is very impressive in the midfield for Derby. So I think I'm looking forward to that. I've kind of earmarked it to say, like, whoever wins the midfield battle will win it, but it has got draw written all over it.
Oh, don't say that, Steve. Come on, you must be positive, Steve. That's why I brought you on, Steve. Positive. Come on.
Right, yeah, 5-0 Forest.
Yeah. Corey, as you know, that disallowed goal, should it standard or not?
I think it could go either way. I mean, you look at these contentious refereeing decisions, and I'm sure we could have a whole nother show about.
Right. Before we start, don't mention the referee. No one mention the referee who we got because these don't. Okay?
Oliver Langford.
Oh, for freak's sake!
No, I think when you look at it, there are contentious decisions that come in every game. I mean, you look at Derby's game. What was it, Jason? A couple of weeks against Watford. There's an own goal given there. Was Colin Kazim-Richards offside? The argument could be made either way. Was Andre Wisdom impeding the goalkeeper? It could be made either way. And so I think, these decisions come up either way. I can see why the goal was disallowed, and I can see why it shouldn't have been disallowed. And you can make the thing. And again, also on the flip side for Forest, I believe Scott McKenna was in a similar kind of situation, and it was not. The call was not made. And again, you can see why it was given. You can see why it shouldn't have been given. It's the consistency from the refs, and it's the refs that have been in the spotlight all season, really, not only in the championship but also in the Premier League as well. And I can make the case either way, so I'm going to sit on the fence and say I could see the case either way. But definitely from a Barbie perspective, I mean, he's miles away from Bryce Samba. He's basically in the trend, right? And Bryce Samba's like, oh, I can't see anything. Well, get a pair of goggles. You're in lime green.
Yeah, is with you. Freebie takeover.
It's a funny one because I mean I do. It's going to sound like a right legger now. I do a podcast with Steve on Sundays, and then I do a thing on the BBC on Mondays. So you have different heads, but the message kind of remains the same in terms of you can swear more with you, I think, Ben. But what I've said most of the season is that got asked on various things. We've all got Wickham and Coventry this week. How do you think Forest still? And I've gone, well, in the league and how we're playing, that's the level we're at. They're around us. It's a relegation battle. I'm sure Derby have felt similar all year. Now, what's happened against Swansea, which we were, I'm guessing two of you probably didn't watch that game, but we were really unlucky, which we probably should have won that. We should have won it. And then Bournemouth again, and then some of the top teams we played more recently. Forest are looking more and more like a team that is out of position. And I'd argue that Derby are in a similar thing at the minute. And I know you probably feel the same, that when we were winning and doing well, which hasn't been a lot of the season, you lot wouldn't die, Sheffield Wednesday wouldn't die, Rotherham wouldn't die. And you kept thinking, I'm one of my best mates, a Wednesday fan. He's going, well, you lot just fuck off and die because we can't we can't escape you. You know what I mean? So this point of the season, I think you've got two teams playing each other who are arguably, I mean, if you look at Swansea, they're one of the best footballing sides I've seen in this league. Me and Steve always sing their praises. We did an absolute number on them. And the thing I think we're taking into this, or I'm holding on to at the moment, into this game, which Derby, as we said, can go out the window, and all the different things about grannies watching and God knows what, is that I think Chris Hughton's the tactical nous I would take maybe over Rooney's passion, which is what I think the two things are going to come down to at this point. I'm not knocking the fact that he's played through however many games he's played, and however much I've always hated him playing for England, and I've just never liked him, whether he's a Derby manager or not. That's to do with Rooney as a thing. He knows the game better than I know it, you'd imagine, in terms of what he's been through. I'm hoping that Hughton, who's the manager of, what do you call him? It was Woodgate, Jonathan Woodgate. And Paul Warren, I think, who was at Rotherham, both said Forest did a number on us. They completely worked out how we played. And that's where Hughton has finally seemingly got us going, that he seems very tactically good at getting teams right. And I hope that's what we see tomorrow night.
Craig, do you echo Phoebe what he's saying?
Yeah, 100%. To be fair, I was going to say with Hughton, he's got us solid from the start, and now you're starting to see the imprint of his team. So they're starting to be more tactically aware to what he wants from the solid foundations. But from the first game, yeah, Derby probably should have won it. I think it was a game of two halves. We tried the 4-4-2, it didn't work. Switched back to what they know, and we became more of a game. Controversy coming. I work in Derby as a barber, so you can imagine the fun and games we have on that. But
sorry, I cut your ear off there. Sorry, mate.
but Chris Martin used to be one of my customers last season, so that was quite interesting with him. But no, yeah, tomorrow's game is going to be a tactical battle, and we have got the wily old manager, so hopefully that plays in our favour.
Jason, let's talk about Rooney. How's it been so far since the last game we played against you lot?
I mean, the job that he's done's probably been nothing short of fantastic. I don't think Derby have been brilliant, but they've been getting the results. Performances over the last 10 games have slightly got better and better each game, bar one or two. Rotherham we won't mention twice, but other than that, to be fair, we had to strip back. I think after Koku, we and that's exactly what Rooney did. He kind of stripped everything back, went back to solid basic football, and then kind of build on it. And I think Derby have got better at doing various bits and pieces. I mean, before us guys met the first time, Derby was shipping in goals left, right, and centre, and we couldn't score in a brothel, basically. So it was something that needed to change. And then I think we went on a nice, pretty run where we kept like 4 out of 6 clean sheets. But out of those 6 games, I think we only won probably 2 of them, and by the one goal goals have started to come a little bit more. I think one of the points you've just made there is, the midfield battle tomorrow night is going to be massive. When Derby have got on top in the midfield, they tend to dominate the game. As that's just kind of the way I suppose that football's played these days. It's all about midfield, and I think that's the key. That's the key area tomorrow for certain. Obviously, no Christian Bielik for Derby, who's been missing for the last 4 or 5. But in that run where Rooney really started getting Derby going, won something like 6 out of 8 or whatever it was, he was an absolute linchpin in that midfield, and he's somebody that we've not replaced. So what we've had to do is change tactically, which is something over the years that Derby have kind of struggled. They've always had one style, one formation. But just recently, I think so far in Rooney's, I think it's 15 games now, Corey? I think he's played something like that. I think he's probably had 7 different formations. And in the majority of those, we've picked up a decent result. So it's good to see that Derby can interchange if need be. Obviously, we've just mentioned there that Houghton's tactically going to be better than Rooney. I would fully agree with that.
Experience-wise.
Absolutely, I don't think you can argue that. But one thing that I know that Rooney will certainly do, he's not afraid of doing, or shown he's afraid of doing. Doing it in a derby is probably a little bit different, but he's not afraid of changing things if no matter what minute of that game will be. He's more than happy to change the formation, change players if need be to combat the opposition. So that adds a bit more for Derby, in Derby's favour, possibly for tomorrow night. But I think Rooney's done, he's done a good job. I don't think you can argue with what he's done. It's not been pretty at times. It's probably not going to be pretty for another few months until he, puts his authority on the team. But at the end of the day, the team's got results, and that's obviously the most important thing.
Steve, we mentioned about the midfield. It'll be a midfield battle, and everyone, as you know, Forest won 1-0 on Tuesday with Ryan Yates starting. Would you start Yates alongside Gardner, Cafu? Who would you put in that midfield?
That's a good question, and it's I think Garner has to start because he's got a forward pass in him for us, and he's been very, very good since he's come to the side. To answer your question, do you know what I mean? You could put Yates or Cafu in beside him, and Yates kind of silenced a few doubters, many doubters, in the game away at Rotherham. So it's a toss-up, really, because I think either of them could do their defensive role, you know what I mean, alongside Garner to free him up for the pass. I would err on the side of caution and say that I would predict that he would probably go with Cafu because they've had a bit of a partnership going forward the last
definitely
5 or
against,
6 games.
Was it against Coventry, Wickham? Who else did we play? 1-0 at City Ground. Who was it?
Blackburn.
Blackburn.
Yeah.
So it's fantastic, wasn't there?
Yeah, so they've had a bit of a relationship in the midfield there. So I would, if I was a betting man, I'd predict that he'd go with Cafu and Garner. But do you know what? If he went with the Yates, I wouldn't complain, especially after that. No, I wouldn't complain because he does what's said, asked of him. He does what's on the tin, and you've got people. It's the problem with Yates is when he's got somebody who is a carbon copy of him beside him. So if you've got So and Yates, you've got no forward pass, have you?
No.
But if you've got Garner and Yates, or Garner and Cafu, then someone could do that, or Garner and So even. But going New York to get to Brighton here. But I mean, I think I wouldn't complain at all if Yates was partnering Garner. But my gut instinct is that he will go with Cafu.
Corey, who have you been impressed with so far with Derby this season?
I think the one name stands out. It's Colin Kazim-Richards.
Oh, for frick's sake, man. Why is everyone mentioning him? I think he's rubbish.
Well, I mean, all I said to Steve earlier on, I think that they need to have some walking frames for Glenn Murray, Colin Kazim-Richards, and Lee Gregory, because they're all the wrong side of 30 anyway. I think it's more senior football night on Friday at the local sports center. No, I think he's been a standout. I think when he came in, he was a bit of a strange signing out of left field. Jason will attest, I wasn't necessarily his biggest fan, but I'm happily eating humble pie because he's immeasurably improved this team since Rooney's come in. He's been one of the catalysts for the improvement in form. And it's not just a goal scoring record. I think he's got 6, on the year, Jason. I think he's got 6. He's got several assists, including an absolutely team-splitting pass on Tuesday night against Huddersfield. And he's just been phenomenal. I think his work rate, his grit, and his leadership, his intangibles is more valuable to the team than what he brings on the field. And he's obviously producing on the field, but off the field, his intangibles, his leadership, his know-how, his experiences from playing all over the world in all these different countries for all these different teams has been a great lift for Derby. But special mention also to Christian Bielik, who arguably was one of the best players in the championship, but he won't be playing because he's out with an ACL injury. So I would have mentioned him, but he's out, not playing. So that's an irrelevant topic. I don't know why I re-brought that up. But Colin Kesson Richards.
Who have you been impressed with Forest so far this season?
I'm glad you're asking me that now. And there was a point I'd have gone, Stan Collymore, he's all right.
Don't mention Stan Collymore to Derby.
There's a lot of things I shouldn't mention to Derby.
Maybe maybe Stuart Pearce.
Mate, I mean, why don't we mention? I don't know, someone from the 15th century. I mean, I don't know,
John Robertson.
I'm glad that you know all these wonderful winning players. At least you've done your. Anyway, it's a funny one because it's been a season where we've got this spy called Cyrus Christie, who has tried to be as shit as he can for most of the season, and he's obviously been waiting until this game to try and absolutely screw us over. However, last couple of games, he's actually been really good. Let me finish, Ben. He's fuck's sake, bring me on the show and mute me. Fuck's sake. It's like being on Derby TV if they've got TVs or electricity. Sorry. So what I was going to say is that Christie's actually been great the last couple of games for me. I know some people pull up on great, and I think we all worried, didn't we, for a while, how the hell this player was involved in promotions for the teams and God knows what. But overall, it's a funny one for me because I think Corey was just mentioning about players you either didn't like or what Jason didn't like before. And I think that Anthony Knockaert was the devil incarnate for me for quite a while. There was a period where I hated him. It was a lot to do with him doing things at the City Ground for Leicester. And do you remember like Dean Sturridge? I think it was played for, and who was it? Remember Robbie Savage as well. You know, players who played for the two, Leicester and Derby, you just have this general hatred for. Knockaert is now in that beautiful position of being playing for Leicester and Derby, and Forest, obviously. Knockaert's impressed me when he's come into the team better because he looks like he's from a different planet. He runs and runs and runs, and his skill on the ball. He looks like you're playing FIFA or Striker or something back in the day where the Brazilian team were just quicker and had better skills. He looks like he's from another planet to him. Overall, it's been a hard season for that, Ben, to actually tell you who I think has been all season I've been happy with because there hasn't really been anyone, if I'm honest with you. But it's really got to go for the last sort of 10-something games, and Knockaert's impressed me recently, so I'll go with that.
Who have you been impressed with?
I think one of the standouts come back was when Worrell came back into the team, because I think Worrell coming back into the team gave Samba more confidence. It brought Fig's game up and just got that bit of steel at the back. But with the Knockaert thing, I think Knockaert's benefited from Krajinovic coming in the January window. So he's got someone else with that intelligence playing alongside him, so they can kind of feed off each other a bit. Where before he would be trying stuff and not, a bit like sort of like players have had in the past where they've been on different wavelengths like other players. So I think that he's definitely benefited from that. But yeah, for me, Worrell coming back into the team has really helped the defence, no matter who he plays alongside.
Jason or Corey, I don't know, I mentioned this to Lisa or Howard yesterday about the takeover. What is happening regarding the takeover situation?
Next question. Because I'll be fucked if I know.
How much time do you have, Ben?
Steve, what time's bedtime for you, Steve?
Bedtime?
No, I think...
the drinks are just beginning.
I think when you look at the takeover from Derby, obviously it was not supposed to be played out as publicly as what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to just kind of somebody who was a naughty person leaked it out. And you never want to do these deals in the public. It's frustrating for fans because they can't go to the stadium. The team was struggling, and there was nothing really for them to really kind of fixate on or discuss other than this takeover, because the grass is always greener right on the other side. So it's been a place of frustration. It's been a place of angst and disappointment. I mean, Derby put out the Derby communications team put out several tersely worded statements like, this will be done. We'll be making no further comment. It'll be done in 24 to 48 hours. It'll be done by Christmas, but they didn't mention which year of Christmas it would be done. And I think the frustrating thing is that fans can't go to stadiums to, kind of have this pent up frustration released about a lot of different things. And so you kind of fixate on these things. But what I would say is, when you look at the deal that's being done, it's not just one club. It's not just one entity that's being sold. It's 5 different entities. So you have the training ground, the stadium, the club, hospitality, and there's one other as well that's escaping me off the top of my head. And then on the stadium and the training ground, there are loans from the MSD Corporation headed by Michael Dell of Dell Computers. So not only are you dealing with a business transaction between 2 parties, 5 business transactions between 2 parties, you're also having to have a third party look at the books of 2 of those, 2/5 of the deal. So it gets very complicated. The Bin Zayed Group, they've tried to buy Newcastle, they've tried to buy Liverpool, they sounded out West Ham, they've sounded out Bournemouth. And so hopefully for Derby fans, this is kind of the time that they decide to buy. But I think for Derby fans, it's now past the point of frustration. It's now past the point of, oh, well, you need to get this done. We need to get this done. It's kind of more of like, look, something needs to happen. Jason and myself said on our season preview podcast that Derby didn't need any off the field distractions. Well, even by Derby standards, it's been a pretty distracting year.
Keep it up.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it gives us plenty to podcast about, so that's good. But yeah, it's a complicated situation, and we hope that it's resolved quickly. But obviously, we've also heard rumors that apparently an American consortium, which I may or may not be a part of, are making a bid to. I'm not part of it. I don't know why. I don't know why anyone. No one thought that. I'm not even fooling myself. And so they thought they might be sniffing around as well. But I think as Derby fans, you just want the conclusion drawn to an end, because Mel Morris has done a lot for the football club. A lot of people like to vilify him. He's done a lot. He's tried his best. He's put a lot of his own money into it, and he's tried his best. But at the end of the day, he hasn't been able to take Derby to where he wanted to take him. But he's tried so many different ways, and he has to be applauded for that. But if it's time for new ownership, it's time for new ownership. Who that's going to be, I don't know. Jason, did I kind of hit that on the head?
I think so. I think, as you say, I think it's getting to the point now where it's kind of boring talking about it, because there's nothing.
I'm loving
yeah,
it.
well, I'm sure a lot are, but it's a non-story. There's nothing happening. I don't know how far down the line that they've got with things. I know the EFL did kind of, sound out the deal and say, yeah, it was okay to take over. And at that point, this was November time. Since then, we've heard precious little. So it's one of those things. The club needs taking over because the chairman wants to sell. And if you want to sell something, the person who's buying is in pole position. He can argue everything that he wants to argue about it. So I don't. It's one of those. I'm not full of confidence that this deal is anywhere near close to being done, even if there is still a deal on the table. It's the noise coming out of Derby and is that, yes, the deal is technically, and that was the word used, technically, still on the table. I mean, what the fucking hell does technically mean in terms of a takeover of a football club? So I technically don't believe it's going to happen. It's one of those things, but it's not great. And now Mel Morris has come out publicly saying that he needs to sell the football club more than anything because of his ill health, and basically he's just had enough of doing it. No potential buyer for the kind of money that I know that he's interested in wanting for Derby, nobody in the right mind under current climate is going to come anywhere near it. So it's either going to be somebody who takes over who, the fans don't want and probably turns Derby into an even worse team than they already are, or he's just not going to be able to get rid of it for the amount of money that he wants. And obviously for on the field things, that can be just as damaging.
Steve, did you want to say something, Steve?
Yeah, you know what? I was just going to put to all of us. Have you noticed? Because obviously, both clubs are kind of results have picked up. They're on the up now. Both clubs have, and both clubs have had underlying problems in the background. With whether it be ownership, whether it be disgruntlement with directors, whatever, the fans' disgruntlement with it. I'm a great believer in winning hides a multitude of sins. Have you five others here? Have you all noticed that's the sort of vitriol on social media or from the fans lessens when you're winning? It kind of goes away a bit,
Yeah.
and people.
Oh, 100%.
100%, 100%, Steve. Let me say something about like when we was losing. I know Forest lot will know like we was going for the CEO, Venturous, and since I think it's 15 games now, we've lost 2 in the last 15, and we've not heard a word about him, have we? To be honest, like I've not heard nothing bad about him. Have you heard anything about him, Craig or Freebie?
I think I was actually talking to somebody about it today because I think that might be what we're talking about on Sunday, Steve, on the podcast. Is that ironically, there was a lot of the players that have improved for us have come from Houghton. I don't know what it's been like with Derby, but there's been a lot of interference, obviously, with Fawaz. And look, whatever the rivalry is, I'm not one of those who wants, in some weird way, you lot to go down. I like that we have each other in a weird. It's like the Joker and Batman kind of thing in a weird way. You know what I mean? And when we had the stuff with Fawaz, there was obviously some numpties who hope we crashed and burned. But I'm sure a lot of you were bloody glad it wasn't happening to you because the bloke was a pox, and the fact he's nicked trophies and in a way, he made me a very angry man who had to write songs about him. So I wanted to sing nice things in the major key, and it was all like, "You fucking."
If no one saw Freebie's channel, click on it. Link.
There's a lot. I'll never have anything for any club who's going through it by people who. I mean, obviously it's a bit different. It's Mel Morris, a bit of a different thing, but it's still a thing for you lot as fans. It's crap. And I think that with Forest this season, if you look at Garner, you look at Kravinovic and Murray and Knockout, they're very much the manager's men. But the irony, to bring it back to what you're saying, Ben, is that Cafu's actually not been too bad. We were all talking about Cafu earlier on, and just in case you didn't know he wasn't worried, it's not that Cafu. They're playing Cafu and Romario and Bebeto. Shit, they've got him in a.
Yeah, we would really need our walking frames out.
I was just about to say that Forest like pensioners, but Jesus,
you mock Murray at your peril, like a lot of our fans. But what I would say is that Cafu's actually the tricky one in a way, Ben, because Steve. I mean, I'm throwing it back at you there, mate, or you as well, Pricey, as it says on here. I'm sure reading everyone's names is what it is. Is that I think Cafu's been all right, but he's very much a chairman player, isn't he? He's come from Olympiacos, who's our daddies. So it's kind of like, that's a tough one, because it's not even like we can just blame all the shit players they brought in.
That's a good question. Like I think with like Cafu and Garner's partnership, it's been fantastic. I know Steve was mentioned about when Forest lose, everyone comes out to Twitter and says negative about the club. Jason Orr, like Derby been playing like, I'm not gonna lie, they've been playing all right for the last 7 games, and the fantastic result against Huddersfield on Tuesday. Like, was it a well-deserved win on Tuesday?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, Derby set up. They were defensively solid. The pass from Colin Kazim-Richards from Martin Waghorn's second goal was just an absolute peach of the highest order. And I'll tell you what was strange with that game was to see Richard Keogh at Pride Park not wearing a Derby shirt. And then also Dwayne Holmes, who had just recently left Derby, had come back. And Dwayne Holmes had scored a couple goals against Swansea at the weekend. And he totally showed why Derby let him go against Huddersfield. So he did basically Derby a favor because he was rather poor. And I'm a big Dwayne Holmes fan up until when he said, "Oh yeah, I've already done this deal for Huddersfield and I wanted to leave Derby." Yeah, well, okay, fine. I'll take my picture off the wall of you if I must. But yeah, I mean the pass from Colin Kazim-Richards to Waghorn was pretty good. Jason, what did you make of the game on Tuesday against Huddersfield?
Caught me off guard there. Sorry.
Yeah,
I thought it was one of those games that obviously, surely the focus was going to be on tomorrow. So it's one of those games that was it was a bit of a banana skin, really, especially with obviously how they just put 4 past Swansea, which came out of absolutely nowhere from the guy that we had on our podcast to do a preview of the Huddersfield game last week. So it was one of those where Derby had just got to get past it. But obviously both teams, I'm sure, went into Tuesday night hoping for a positive result ready for Friday. We both got one. Obviously, there was the added twist with the Huddersfield game with Dwayne Holmes and Richie Keogh lining up against us for the first time. That was interesting. I'd have loved to have been in the stadium for that one, but obviously we can't. But I thought Derby did exactly what they needed to do against Huddersfield. Huddersfield didn't really push Derby, to be honest.
Jason, you were home to that way because I was more worried about Rotherham away was potentially horrible. So
absolutely, and I caught. To be honest with you, I caught the last half an hour of the Forest game after Derby kicked off at 7. So I watched the last half an hour just as you scored. And I mean, Derby got turned over and dicked by Rotherham twice this season in a way that they play. And I mean, I know after the Forest goal, to be fair, Rotherham had a couple of chances. I'm sure their big lad up front got one that dropped to him straight in the box, and he absolutely fucking air kicked it. Which, against a better opposition, it may well go in the back of the net. But Rotherham's never an easy game. Derby have struggled all season against those types of teams, and it's one of the reasons why, in all fairness, I mean, don't get me wrong, Derby have not been great over the last 2 years, but in a little way, I'm surprised where Forest are at the moment. I think we're both kind of safe now, I'd like to say. I certainly think if there's a winner tomorrow night, they definitely should be. But we don't play that way. And I'm not just saying it because, we're both on here, but we don't play that type of football of a team that, battles for relegation and that kind of thing. And we try and play football the right way, if that makes sense. And
are you telling me Derby County are a Ferrari you're trying to take on a Safari? Is it?
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one.
I've never thought of them like that, Jason. I will now. Yeah.
But I mean, I don't necessarily think neither team have got business being down the bottom end of the league. But at the end of the day, we are, and you've got to do what you've got to do. Listen, Derby 3 months ago were absolutely banging trouble. They couldn't buy a win. They couldn't buy a goal. They couldn't keep one out either. So, it's a mere miracle what they've managed to do. And I don't think Forest should be down there either.
But one thing I'm taking from this is that I know form tables and bloody XG and that shit is there to sort of be mocked in some ways. But to see Forest as the second in the away form, or like 5th overall in form, away form in particular over the last few seasons, is something you wouldn't expect Forest to be at. So I think maybe as much as we needed fans to get us over the line the end of last season, when it obviously went so wrong, this season the away stuff has actually improved. So that's another reason I'm actually got a little bit more confidence going to an informed Derby than I would do, because I think obviously having your 7 usual fans there would have been quite hard for the lads.
Do you think just in general, lads? Obviously last season, the last couple of months of it, as you've just mentioned there, Forest did a fantastic job of bottling it.
Brilliant.
Do you think that?
Jason,
do you think some teams have kind of adapted to it this year? Just in the way that I think the back end of last season affected Derby in different ways, but I don't necessarily think this season no fans there have necessarily made a massive difference. I think if the fans had been there, Cocker would have gone fucking weeks before. And I think the fans would have given the team an absolute rollicking, and maybe we would have picked out 1 or 2 results. But certainly over the last 3 months, I don't think fans there are fans not. I don't think it made a jot of difference.
I think some of our players have been very lucky. There's been no fans there. I'll say that.
100%. Who would you say been like? If fans was there, who would you think would have gone for him, Craig? Like Chrissy's been mentioned loads, quite a lot of times.
You've probably got players like your Knockarts who came with, and Freemans, who have come with the big reputations at the start of the season. They've not hit the ground running. So as a fan, you're looking at them and you're thinking, right, well, we've got you in here to do the business that we know you can do, and you don't look bothered. You don't look like you're not.
Harry Arter be the prime
Harry
example.
Arter's another one.
Another
one. Yeah. Them sort of players who've come with them reputations, who we've all looked at in the summer. I mean, we made stupid amount of signings, but we were signing some really good players on paper, and they just haven't performed to the levels we know they can. So if fans were that, you know what City ground's like, they can turn on you in an instant. So yeah, them sort of players
you
are probably the ones.
got to remember is that we all do it. It's like it's nice
Yeah.
nice sometimes having mates who support the teams near you. So like my granddad was a big Sheffield Wednesday fan on that side of my family, so I can't stand Sheffield United. They're very much a team I look out for, you know, with Wednesday. And Fudge, my mate, genuine name, he's always saying to me like, we're buggered. We're buggered this season. Wednesday are atrocious. They're one of the worst teams I've seen us play. But to us, we're looking at, I'm sure Derby do the same way. You're going, we're not safe yet. It's bloody Derby. It always happens. We always mess up. We always whatever. We do it all the time. What you forget is every bloody team does it. So like Sheffield Wednesday now, they think they're absolutely screwed, which they're in a worse position than both of us. But
I hope they do. I hope they don't go down, if I'm honest.
no, I you know, it's for me, it's a family thing. I'm sure everyone's got a reason for hating whatever, but it's a funny season, this, mate. And I agree with exactly what you were just saying. Is that we all look at it with a certain perspective on at times, and I think the two sides that we support are out of position at the minute. I think they will pull away and probably go for a playoff run together. Why not?
Yeah, why not?
There you go. I would agree with you. I think it's a Derby Forest playoffs when fans can return to stadiums.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Poetic,
That would be amazing.
poetic of the league. Oh my God, that'd be so poetic and great. But yeah, I would agree with you. I think there are three worst teams in this division. I mean, Birmingham's been sinking like a stone. We played Birmingham at St. Andrews, and they were just atrocious. Like, they were nowhere, by far the worst team I have seen in the championship. And I mean, I've watched a lot of Forest games. I'm just kidding. And I think Sheffield Wednesday, they didn't look to have too much fight about them. And unfortunately, as much as I'd like Wickham to stay up, because we've had great chats with the lads who do the Chairboys podcast, but I think they're pretty much gone as well. And I think this is an important game for both teams, because obviously the win pushes you up that much further up the table. But again, I can see both Derby and Forest making a mid-table, even a late playoff push, because you're right there. It's the season this season is just so bonkers, and it's so tight. I mean, you win. I mean, Derby a month ago was like catastrophic. League One opening the door 1 foot in, and now it's win a game, draw against Watford, win a game against Huddersfield, and we're talking about some people are potentially using the P word, playoffs. So
we've all compressed the league, though. We've made the midfield of the league, because you mentioned us, Wednesday, you.
Yeah.
Teams like Huddersfield and Birmingham have dropped it. We've compressed the middle. So actually now we've caught them to a point you can just jump. And I think that's those that have not kept that form going are going to get left behind, I think, as well.
Yeah, you look at Millwall. Millwall was sinking until they got a win, and there's a couple other ones. Yeah, QPR. I mean, QPR is ninth. I mean, I've seen QPR a couple times, and they're just not very good.
Yeah,
and they're like ninth or something crazy like that.
They are 13th now.
Huh?
They're 13th now because the league's gone crazy.
Okay, well that's good. That's a little bit better. I was panicking when they were up above mid-table, because I was like, Christ, this league is just poor.
Right, next question. I've got a question for everyone. I'll start with you, Jason. What was your first Forest and Derby game?
It would have been, 1990, probably about 6 or 7. It was a 2-2. It was a 2-2 draw. I think it was at Pride Park. I can't remember now. To be honest, it's that long ago. Yeah, it was a 2-2 draw. I remember it being on Sky as well. It was, if memory serves me right, I think Francesco Baiano scored for Derby, and I think Derby also scored a penalty.
Oh, that was at the City Ground.
It was. I think it might have been. Yeah, Derby. I think Tony. Yes, I think it was Pierre Van Hooydonk. Yeah, that was my first one, and that was my uncle was a big Derby fan who used to take me as a kid. Because actually, my dad's a Forest fan.
Yeah.
In fact, 90% of my family are from Nottingham and are Nottingham Forest fans.
So why do you support Forest then, Jason? What's up?
Do you know? I think it literally. I spent a lot of time at my auntie and uncle's, and he was a massive Derby fan, and I think that's just he got to me first, unfortunately. And ever since then, I've been black and white. So, but yeah, that's certainly the first one that I remember. many years ago. Remember it being quite a good game, actually. Obviously, both of us back, in the Premier League playing some of our better football over the last few decades, and it's a what I'd give for us both. What I'd give for us both to be back there at this moment in time, playing a derby in the Premier League.
Corey, what was your first game, Forest and Derby?
Well, that's yet to happen because I'm 4,000 miles away, so I've never been to an actual East Midlands derby. I have been both.
Come on, you Canucks! Come on, you Canucks!
Yeah, I have been both in Forest and Derby at different times. I went to Forest to watch them play Sheffield United a couple years ago. I've been in the boardroom at Forest, seen the European Cups, which is just a tremendous thing. Sat in the dugout.
Have you got pictures of yourself on your wall?
With the European Cups?
Yeah.
I do. I do have pictures of the European Cups because as a football fan, it's an amazing crowning achievement. And my dad's from the Nottinghamshire, Derbyshire border area, from Ilkeston. So, I have a great respect for both teams. I understand the history of both teams. Unfortunately, I've never been able to experience the passion yet of a derby, but I'm hopeful I can do that sometime before now. And when I die, I would hope that would be a general realistic expectation. But I've got a lot of great memories from going to Forest, and my memories going at Derby. But it's always a special time. I remember sometimes trying to get less than legit streams to watch a game. Sometimes I've watched many at East Midlands Derby in Farsi and Arabic and Tagalog. I think I watched one in Chinese once. So they're always an interesting experience, but I'll definitely be tuning in tomorrow afternoon. Don't tell my boss. Okay. You have to promise, everybody has to promise that you can't tell my boss, but I'll be watching the game tomorrow afternoon and loving life when Derby starts smashing Forest again. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, unfortunately I've never been to one. I wish I could answer your question better, but I've got massive respect for both teams. Forest have always been good to me, and the Forest fans that I've met, Steve, Ben, the lads on here, everyone's just always fantastic. And it's a bit of fun, really, at the end of the day. But for me, we're just football fans, and that's the great thing about doing the podcast and making these videos is that we can just talk about something that we're so passionate about. And yeah, we're fans of different rival teams, and we'll be frenemies starting after this stream. Don't talk to me, Ben. We're frenemies. But then afterward, we'll be friends again, and we can collaborate and do cool things together. So that's the best part for me. But
Yeah, Steve, what was your first game, Forest and Derby?
It was 1856.
Yeah,
I was going to say a bit before us, I think.
Yeah. So I'm probably the oldest on here.
You were not much older than me, but we always mock Steve. Well, Alan always mocks Steve for being the old man of our podcast, and he's not.
I think, off the top of my head, I think it was 87 or 88.
I wasn't even alive.
Cheers, man.
I mean, I said he's not a lot older than me, but Jesus.
Yeah. Lads, I'm 44. I'll be 45.
Talk about them walking frames, Steve.
Yeah. Me and Glenn Murray, man, like that. I'm telling you.
Where was it? Was you at City Ground or was you at the?
No, the first. I never went to the old baseball ground, but the first one was at City Ground. I can't remember. I think it was a 2-1 win. I remember. I think Shilton was in goal for Derby, and obviously Pearce and Ted McMinn were ripping hell out of each other, which was great. But I think it was a 2-1 win. I think it was 87, 88 season. I think that was my first.
Phoebe, what was yours?
Mine's do you know what? The first one I don't remember as much, but the second one was fucking horrendous. And I'm going to give you you'll understand this if you've ever been ill and football, right? So first one I've looked up was the 18th of August, 1993. It was a 1-1 draw, second game of the season. Derby fans, who scored for Derby?
Who scored?
Tommy Johnson.
Mike Forsyth.
Who?
Apparently. Oh, yeah, Ian Wone for Forest, yeah.
Ian Wone for Forest, yeah. That was my first game.
It's after we'd done Southend in the first game, yeah. But then the second game, I didn't see one then for years. And then in about 2008, I got this thing called Crohn's disease. I really wasn't very well. And I used to just need the loo. I was in pain all the time. I got really skinny. I was really ill. And my birthday is January 25th. So it's always around fourth round of the FA Cup. And we've got that draw. And City Ground, my dad went, for your birthday, he's probably watching this. All right, Dad, I did like the present. He said, going to take you to see Forest Derby in the FA Cup replay. Yes, Dad. And I really wasn't very well. I probably shouldn't have left the house. And I'm sat there in the Brian Clough stand. And obviously what happened, and then Commons, and then bloody... And I remember turning to my dad and going, this is the shittest present anyone's ever got. For my birthday, you took me to see Forest get knocked out of the FA Cup by Derby and bloody Chris Commons scoring and bloody Savage. And so, that's a bad memory. But also we've got Daniel Pinillos and all the other wonderful ones since then as well. But yeah, 1993 for me.
Craig, what's yours?
Mine was actually, I was a bit of a late because I was always playing more as a kid. I won't go into loads of games. So mine was actually when we was at college together in 2003, when we won 3-0. Harewood twice and Huckabee.
Huckabee twice.
That was my first one. We
That was
had
a
a season ticket while we were at college. So yeah, it's a good first one to have. That was, to be fair. But yeah, that's my first experience, and I've not missed a lot since at home. Since I don't think.
Right, last question. Prediction time. Who should I go for? Let me go for you, Corey. What's your prediction for tomorrow?
I think Wayne Rooney's brought a few chainsaws, so it's going to be a deforestation kind of night. No,
So
I'm
his
just
haircut.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, he's got the luscious long locks now. I'm glad he's had a shave because the beard just does not work. And when he dyed it last year, it was like I don't know who you're fooling here. It's just terrible looking. But yeah, actually, if you want to look at a great head of hair, check out Steve McLaren because the hair island is now gone. That man could potentially win hairstyle of the year at Derby County. He's got some thick, luscious locks. Craig, he'll be coming to see you.
I was there we've been talking to in lockdown because I can't get hooking rid of mine.
Yeah,
so,
he popped out, and it was just like he was close to having a man bun. It's just like, bam, it's just flat
Does
out.
he look like one of those dudes out of Step Brothers?
Yeah, exactly. It's like the hair island's gone. It's like, who is this? Return of the Mac. Wow. Okay. And it's not surprising that Rooney's linked up with him, so I'm sure Rooney hooked him up with his hair transplantist. I guess you go to university for that. I don't know. I studied hair transplant. I don't know. I think as a looking at it from a purely footballing perspective, I was saying this to Steve on the previous show we were just on, is these two teams mirror each other so closely. It's like really crazy. Like Houghton came in, and I think it was his first or second game in charge was Derby. They were on a low swing. Derby were on a low swing. They kind of ebbed through the autumn on kind of poor runs of form. But then ever since Christmas, both teams have kind of been on the upswing and picked up. Houghton's made some signings on loan. Rooney's made some signings on loan. And they come into this game both in good form, both with pretty strong teams. You look at the midfield battle with Garner. Yates is in there. And Cafu, not the Brazilian Cafu who's like 50, but the normal Forest Cafu. It's always weird. Didn't Forest also have a guy named Pele?
Yeah.
And Thiago Silva.
Yeah, you see, exactly. You get all these famous Brazilians, and then you're like, oh, crap, we got the wrong one again.
Did they think they were getting the real ones?
I probably you got Roberto Carlos, and it'll be like a 60-year-old man.
Is that like when you signed the 17-year-old Wayne Rooney?
Yeah. I wish
it's
we
like
had
when they signed. It's like when Man United signed Ronaldo, and my dad remembered. He's like, they signed Ronaldo. I was like, whoa, Ronaldo's going to Man United, and it was like fat old Brazilian Ronaldo. Yeah. And then my dad's like, no, it's this Portuguese kid. And I was like, oh, he's crap. He's never going to amount to anything. What a waste of time. They should have gone after the Brazilian Ronaldo. Yeah, shows how much I know about football. But I think when you look at the game, the midfield's strong defensively. Derby have fullbacks that like to kick on and bomb on. Forest have that as well, with especially if Ribeiro and Christie play instead of Bong. If they both have fullbacks that like to bomb on, they have aging strikers that are veterans that understand this division and understand the midfield's very strong for both teams. Shinnie and Garner stand out for me. The defensively with Figueiredo and Worrell or Mbe So, who's ever going to play in that partner Worrell. Derby have Matt Clark and Andre Wisdom. They both have arguably top 5 championship goalkeepers in Bryce Samba and David Marshall. As much as I hate to admit it, Bryce Samba is a hell of a goalkeeper. He's phenomenal. And I'd love to have him in a Derby shirt. He's a pantomime villain pulling up his shorts. It was funny the other day looking at his finding the 6-yard box. That was
yes.
And I would be so irritated if it was like Derby were losing and he was doing it. But if she was on the other foot, I'd be loving it. It'd be hilarious to do. So
to be fair, he does piss me off sometimes. But
yeah, because he's so slow in his thing, and he takes like 50 steps to kick the ball. But I think the teams mirror each other so much, and Jason and myself have been doing a lot of research for this because we've been on a lot of different things to do with it, and I cannot pick one side or the other. When I say, ooh, this would tip to Forest, oh, well, counter tip to Derby and whatever. So I'm going to sit on the fence and I'm going to say a 1-1 draw.
Oh, okay, right. So what your head? or heart? 1-1. Because I'm about to say twice. One
If you
head,
talk
one
to my
heart.
girlfriend, I don't have a heart. So, and if you talk to my boss, she doesn't think I have a brain. So, it's whichever one you want. No, I think a 1-1 definitely is from what my head's telling me because of just the way I've analyzed it. But obviously, I think heart wise, as a Derby fan, I'd love Derby to smash Forest 9 or 10-0. But realistically, that's not going to happen, Mr. Dore, because you'd be showing up at the Derby Club shop buying one of them jerseys again. Remember, like you said last time. Yes, guys, last time he was on this channel, he said if Derby won, he'd go down to the mega store.
No.
He'd switch allegiances. He'd switch allegiances. That's what he said, and he'd get a kit.
Corey. We'll say that last. We'll talk about that last. That's the last question I want to tell you, Corey.
Fair enough. So my heart says, my head says 1-1. My heart says 2-1 Derby.
Right. Steve, what do you think the score will be?
Head says 0-0, and heart says we win the midfield battle and win 1-0.
Okay. Jason?
I'm thinking similar. I think I wouldn't be surprised if it's a draw at all. The optimistic side of me, the heart side of me, does say Derby 2-1, but it's been a while since Derby's won one. Maybe just maybe it's Derby's turn. But I think both sides, as we've all just discussed, I think both sides cancel each other out, and that midfield battle is going to be massive tomorrow night. It really is.
3B, what's your score?
Oh man, I thought about it quite a lot this week, and I think both teams don't really seem to let a lot of goals. I think our Achilles heel is up front. We're not putting the ball in the net enough. So everything goes for a 0-0, really, to me. Obviously, it's a derby, so it's probably either going to be 4-4, 7-0. If you give me a tenner and say just chuck it on something, I'd go 1-0 Forest. Just because I'm a little bit happier this week than I've been normally. But then if it's my own money, I'd say 0-0.
Craig?
Yeah, it's hard to see past the draw, just the way both teams are playing. The thing that Jason said about the fact they haven't won one for so long does make me slightly nervous. But I just think the vein of form with him and the resilience we've got under Houghton, I can't see past the draw. I think we'll get something out of the game.
But if we are going to lose to them for the first time in ages, I'd rather they did it when there was no bugger there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, exactly.
And when I have to face the wrath in my
Yeah, we weren't there. Yeah, exactly.
Right, so Corey mentioned about our bet in the last preview. And can you remember the bet then, Corey?
I do.
So the bet was, if Forest win or Derby win vice versa 3-0, we both got to one of the way. I'll go to wear the Derby top, you go wear the Forest top, right?
What are you doing, man?
Ben, real quick, what's your favorite? What number do you have on the back of your football shirts?
14.
14. Fair enough.
Oh, for freak's sake.
He fixed his armory.
That looks pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of like it. That looks real nice.
I was just about to say if Derby actually got a number 14 this season, and I tell you what, I couldn't even tell you who it is.
I don't think so.
No, correct. The bet was right. If Derby score 5 past Forest, then I'll get my name on the back. That was the deal.
Yeah.
So
it's pretty safe.
You want to keep that bet? Do it out.
We can keep that bet going. I'm pretty confident that no one's going to get 5. Plus, you're in for a deal because when Derby do, kits are 50% off at the mega stores. You'll be saving a bit of money as well.
So that's the bet. So
if it's 3-0 to either side, either myself or you will come on your show wearing the other kit. And if it's 5-0, you have to go down to the mega store and I'll order one online.
I've got a feeling this bet will keep rolling and rolling and rolling because the games aren't 3-0, 5-0 games.
It's been 7 years since we last scored 5 past Forest. It's not happening anytime soon. I know that.
Jason, have we even scored 5 this season or last season or the season before that?
What in total?
Yeah,
it's close
in the Premier League.
When's the last time we scored 5? Does anyone know that?
Oh, Derby, Robert Earnshaw. No, I can't remember. It's been a while. It's been
Derby
a while.
legend Robbie Earnshaw.
Derby have not scored more than 4 in a game for 2.5 years. I know that much. So
thanks for that,
that's
Jason.
far back as I can remember. But 5, I can't remember. It's probably about 4 years ago.
Right, so the bet is if Forest or Derby win 3-0, I win Derby top. Corey wins the Forest top. Deal, yeah? So
That's
people
I'm
saying,
on. I'm 100%.
Free big Steve or Craig, do you want to come
But
into
also,
this?
guys,
so
deal?
there's another thing going on.
We'll just
Dore
watch.
gets to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the season. He's going to do the last live watch along in drag. So we need you all to promote it as much as possible and get him up to 4,000.
Oh,
Yeah.
for Ben.
Well,
That's worth
Yeah,
it.
Ben will be in drag for his live watch along for the last one of the season.
So he's just
If
going to
he
wear a
gets to
Forest top
4K.
then?
we'll share.
Why,
We'll share the hell out of that. That's for sure.
why do you need to tell everyone, Craig? This is
Well-
so rude.
How many are you on at the minute, Ben?
3.5.
Ben, do you not vet your guests before you invite them on?
got a
I
big-
think
big family.
I think I'd up the stakes and say if you get to 5,000, you do it naked.
You're talking.
Hey,
No one wants
I
to
would.
see that.
Hey, I'm subscribing right now.
I'm doing the bottom half of this naked right now.
I am.
Look,
I can, I reckon you'd look good in a pensioner's bra. I'll have a word with Rooney, see if he can get you one.
I'll have a word. I've got an insider in the club. I'll have a word.
Oh, dude. But lads, it's been a pleasure. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Corey. Thank you, Steve, and thank you, Freebie. Come on, Craig, you stay on for a little bit. But tomorrow, hopefully, a massive Forest win. Corey, Forest win. Please leave your Twitter on. Don't turn your phone off because I'll be calling for you.
What Twitter account? I don't have a Twitter account.
I was just gonna say, look, it's good. It's whatever aside, we always have this, and we all know some. I'm sure you know some Forest fans who you hate, and I do some Derby fans. There's always some extremes of everything, but it's nice to have faith in something. It's nice to believe in something, and especially at times like this, it's great to have these chats and to do it. So I hope we stuff you 4-0, but I keep safe.
Yeah, I mean, it's the hope that kills you, right? Every year we go, this is our year. And then you get to
Are
like,
you
January,
ready for
February,
promotion?
and you go, oh
you
Christ, when FIFA 22 comes out, I'm gonna have to take Derby up to the Premier League again. And then you get like the winter doldrums. You're like, oh Christ, we're gonna be here again, you know. And then like the next, this season's gonna be different. This season's gonna be different. And it's just like in Einstein said, doing the same things all the same time and expecting different results is insanity. So I think most of us must just be insane.
Colin,
And
I hope-
especially
I hope
artists
it kills you.
for us.
We've been saying this for the last 20. As Forest fans, we've been saying this for the last 23 years. It's our year. It's our year.
Ben, do you remember when our board sent out a thing going, are you serious about promotion? It's like, are you?
Are you? Are you? Exactly.
I think Mel Morris has flogged every trick in the book on that one, and unfortunately, he's not managed it. So, I think we're the experts of that one.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, at least
but
you've been
lads,
to the Premier League, however short it was. But we don't remember what it was.
How about this, Ben? How about this for your thing? If you get to 5,000 subscribers, okay, you have to put on a Nottingham Forest Speedo and jump into the Trent in front of the city ground while someone's live streaming it.
Or a puddle in Derby. Up to you.
Yeah, either one. But you have to be in a Speedo.
for frick's sake, man, you're not taking.
Anyway, I think we've got to go now, Ben. So I'll leave you to
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
You don't
We've got
decide.
to go now. You're mad. You mad? In Speedo. You see how cold?
Corey, do you realise how
Sorry,
cold it
it's
is in this
It's
country?
lockdown, so you've got a bit of time to get in shape.
Yeah, but my friend lives in Canada and he said it's minus 38 at the minute, so I think we are quite tropical. So
Yeah. I still wouldn't jump in the Trent, mate. I know that much.
Hey, like that Forest fan did. Remember when he did it last
I was
year?
about to mention
When he
that.
jumped in and the cops got him out, and they're like, "Yeah, Chris Martin equalized," and he's like, "Oh."
I think last season won it. Oh, don't no, Corey, no, I am not really. No, I'm not going to.
Yeah, no more of that tomorrow. If somebody dicks each other 4-0, let's do it within like 60, 70 minutes. And I don't think my art can take another one of them.
There's no chance, Corey. There's no chance. But stick to our deal. Forest win 3-0, Derby win 3-0. Well, that's a deal. Nothing else.
Okay.
There we go.
Don't try and twist my arm. Okay.
Fair enough.
Like I said, if Forest win, Corey and Jason, I'm going in for you.
I'm sending you the text of the mega
there.
store link, so it's easy for you.
Boys, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much, lads.
Cheers, lads.
hopefully-
Thank you.
Hopefully, a fantastic performance from Forest, and not good luck to the season. I won't say good luck, but I'll say nah. I'm not
How about this? I hope we can be talking about championship with you next season as a Derby and Forest rather than
Yeah.
League One.
100%.
It's
What
hard
is
when
it?
you think you're a nice person, but you almost have to leave it by going, I hope we dick you. See you later.
Yeah. Well, he was a nice guy. He was all right. Yeah.
Till the end.
He could have said a lot worse.
I'm all right at the minute. We've got another one at like 6 o'clock tomorrow, and I can't say that I'm going to be so nice because that's a little bit too close to game time for me to be impartial.
Yeah.
Right, but it's been a pleasure. Thank you
Cheers,
very much.
guys. Thanks very much.
See you later.
Hopefully we'll speak to you soon. Cheers, lads.
Cheers, mate. Bye.
Cheers, dude. Craig. Right. Any questions for anyone? Craig, tomorrow, watch along.
Yep.
I'm starting at 7:15. I'm not
Yep.
going to do it early one. So are you still for that?
Yeah, sell for that. That's fine.
People, that's really fun. Like I said, before I do go, I did a prediction from the rival fans. If you watched it, please go and check it out.
Some funny little bits in it. Worth watch.
There is some funny bits. So yeah, tomorrow, if you did enjoy this preview, please do hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and my next target, I think I'm on 3.6, if you can. Thank you very much, Craig, for taking your time for coming on. But that's me and Craig will be here tomorrow, 7:15 for the big game. If you're not there, I will slap you. So, but yeah, thank you everyone for watching. Up the Forest, and we'll see you tomorrow.
See you later.
Peace and love.